Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, bonamalu wanji, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jed Lee, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so honored and so wicked happy that you would join us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to tell all of your family and friends about the show, and please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, wherever you find your podcasts. Our guest today is Krisiti Shimada. She is here to celebrate the samurai's gift among the forest. Before we invite Kristi into the studio, we want to invite you to connect with us on social media. Facebook.com/readingwithyourkids. At Reading With Your Kids on Instagram and TikTok. At Jedley Magic on Twitter. Be sure to check out our Reading With Your Kids Pinterest page and also our Reading With Your Kids YouTube channel. We have so much going on the YouTube channel, and we are debuting Drawing with Your Kids on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please be sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you find your podcast. And also, please be sure to visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the contact button at the top of the page to send us a message and let us know what you love about the show. Let us know what we could be doing better. And also, let us know who you would like to hear on a future episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Join us right now from Washington State. Our guest is here today to celebrate a wonderful book. It's called The Samurai's Gift Among the Forest. Please welcome to the show, Krisiti Shimada. Hey, Kristi, how are you?
Good, and thank you for having me here, Julie. I really appreciate it.
I'm really happy that you're here. I'm looking on your website, and the first thing that jumps out at me are all the brilliant colors that are on the cover art of all of your books. They're just spectacular. It's like a rainbow of color and images.
Yes, thank you. I mean, to me, color is really important. It's very inspiring, but not only that, very healing. So color, to me, every color is very important. And even in all my books, the illustrations, I work closely with the illustrator to make sure that the colors have balance and beauty in it, so that when the children open the books, that they're like, wow, this is something in their spirit feels good and comforted and peaceful.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard, no, I have heard the idea of color is healing in different ways. It's been a while. Can you talk a little bit? I definitely want to get into talking about the Samurai's Gift, but just talk a little bit more about that concept, that idea that that color can be healing.
Well, for instance, pink has to do with love. Green is a healing color. It has to do with nature. And when you go out in nature and you're amongst the forest, it's very healing. So in the green and the earth, and so to me, every color has healing meaning. The rainbow colors are really important to me too, and like for instance, red, it has to do with passion, and it can also do with anger, But and then you have blue, that's peaceful and serene. So every color has a meaning, and to me, when I'm working with my illustrator, I like that bold and the colors and the brightness, because I feel that it just opens up your world, the child's world, into color, and also the words have meaning too. So it brings it all together, and I'm hoping that my books bring healing to the body, mind, and spirit of that child, or the inner child of the adult that's reading the book to that child.
That's interesting. As you were speaking, a couple of things occurred to me. Number one, color is obviously very, very important. We know this. If we don't know this scientifically, we know this because we know that corporations, giant corporations, spend millions of dollars going out and finding the exact shade of red that they're going to use in their advertisements or their logos. There is a reason why the Golden Archers are that shade of golden on that shade of red, and it's been responsible for selling billions and billions of food that's not great. It's tasty, but it's not great. Sorry. But so we know that color does have an influence on us. And I know myself, I was speaking with Kristi before we started recording, that I just went on this epic cross-continent driving adventure. And I know that when I was in the desert and surrounded by all this brown, it was beautiful, but it was a little unsettling for me. I wasn't as comfortable as I am in the Northeast, where even in the city, I'm surrounded by green. There's always the green in the trees, and it's always something that I can see. And so I'm wondering, is this the effect the color has on us? Do you think it's natural and it happens because of nature, or do you think it's something that we've been society has conditioned us to experience color in a certain way?
That's a good question. I feel that it's natural. The world we have different colors in the world, and you put on red and you feel vibrant, and and it also shows the color. It shows power and passion. And then you put on blue, and it kind of, makes you a little more maybe subdued, peaceful. So even, the office colors. I mean, when I was working, my office had to have certain colors in it. The pictures have to be in certain areas. I had angels up and fairies and, different things, because I wanted to bring nature and that energy into my office. It was really important to me. And I had a lot of plants. And everything had to be cut a certain way. I mean, because it brought beauty inside my little world, my office. So when I stepped in my office, it was a place where I can find peace and beauty. And I step out of the office, my office, and then, I am able to go out and do what I need to do to help, the students I worked with and the people I worked with, and then come back to my office and just, just feel. It's like almost like refueling your energy.
Yeah, interesting. I love that. So tell us about the Samurai's Gift. You tell us that the story's kind of hard, can kind of hit you hard, but there's a happy ending to it.
Yes. So the Samurai's Gift Among the Forest. Little Himari loses both of her parents in a car accident. She was in also. And she blames herself because she took her father's attention away, she feels. And then she's put into a home where she is, with other children. She goes through a journey, through dreaming, and meets Yoshi from the Samurai's Gift and the dragon and the samurai, and they help her heal her heart. And she sings everything. So when she's going through her journey, everything she says, she sings until the very end, things change, and then she, we have this happy ending.
That's, it's the idea of reading a story, a kid's story, where the parents die immediately. A lot of parents are like, "Oh, I don't want to read this to my kid," but I mean, the reality is, our kids are going to experience loads of emotion. Hopefully, they'll never experience the loss of their parents, but they're going to experience loss in their lives, even a loss of a friend. As kids, at the end of every school year, I think kids will typically get a new set of friends. And that friendship that your son or daughter had with their best friend in first grade, even if they're still friends in second grade, that relationship is going to change. And so there's going to be, your son lost that first grade friend, and the second grade is a new person. So we have to help our kids deal with loss and to be able to talk to them about it. Otherwise, they're just going to have to try to figure it out on their own.
That's true. And I think it's not only physical loss, but also, like you said, emotional loss. And in my books, have a lot of the friendship element in it too, where, there's rumors or, perceptions of things that, people say something, but but it's not really what they've said. And, it's misunderstanding. So that children can, understand that, we're not perfect, and people do make mistakes, and it's okay. It's just to be able to say, you know what, it has some forgiveness in your heart and compassion. And I feel that what's really important is that, we could heal a lot of people or children by just listening. Listening to me is very important. If a child's crying, and they're, tugging at you, they need something. And if it's just a moment where you pick them up and give them a hug and they're fine, or you sit and you listen to what they have to say for that moment in time instead of pushing them away, that moment, they're going to always remember that moment that, hey, I feel loved, I feel cared for. And I know that, we can't always every minute, stop what we're doing, but but maybe just that moment in time that says, I'm in the middle of something, I will be with you. Just give me one moment, and or just acknowledge them, and then acknowledge them and listen, and just that physical touch or that hug, it's like, you're going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. You remind me of something, a very powerful moment in our family's life. And as you're talking, I'm hearing you, and I'm envisioning you listening to a young child. And I think when we're reading with our kids and we're asking them questions and we're listening to their answers, that is a great way to let them know that, yeah, we value you. We want to listen to you. When my son was older, I might have been in high school, but definitely middle school, he went through a really tough few years. And it always seemed that any time the situation blew up, it was, he was bringing up this thing from the past and that thing from the past. And finally, one night I just said, look, it's late. We can't do this now, but tomorrow night, I promise, at 7:00, I want you to make a list. You get a notebook, make a list. We'll go through every single thing, every single grievance you have. I will listen to, I will not interrupt you. I will listen to everything you say, and we'll talk about it. And I just want you to acknowledge that when we finish talking about it, that's it. We're going to put those old grievances to bed. And it was the best thing that we had done. Turns out he didn't need the whole notebook. There was just a few kind of things. And it wasn't really even that he had to have issues A, B, C, and D through Z settled. He just wanted assurances that he was going to be heard. And after I heard the first few, when we talked about it, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, he's hearing me. He takes me seriously. I'm going to be heard in the future. And it's so powerful. It really made a huge difference in our families and in his life, because he was able to be much more relaxed.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think everyone needs to be heard. Mm-hmm. No matter how old you are, because some days you just need that hug, or you just need to be heard and listened to, and be able to express how you're feeling. And then somehow it kind of relieves your spirit, and it just is, you're thinking, okay, now I feel much better. Thank you for listening. Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's all I needed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't need you to solve anything, but I just needed you to listen, just to make me feel, it just makes a person feel maybe more heard, like you said, and balanced.
Yeah. Yeah. You've written, is it a dozen books or more?
So nine.
Nine.
Actually, the 10th one is coming out on November 14th.
Excellent.
And
What's
it's
that?
called
What's that title?
The Sea Princess.
The Sea Princess. What's the Sea Princess about?
It's about a princess. She's a mermaid that lives on the planet Lilia. So it's a fantasy children's book. And it's basically about friendship and healing because she, there's a couple, there's an animal or there's a sea animal, a little dolphin that gets injured. So her mother and her are healers and she sings, Princess Avalon sings and heals and her voice heals. And then her mother just has the healing touch, the energy touch. And so they heal this little dolphin. And then there's, other things happening where there's a mysterious black mist that comes in and it's an unknown, being that comes in and, and the king goes out and, with his guards and, takes care of that. And then there's a celebration, the summer solstice celebration. So there's a lot of different things going on, but basically it's about friendship and about healing and about celebrating.
Healing is an important topic in your life, or at least in your writing.
It is, because I feel that everyone needs that, whether it's something small within yourself or, something that's, you're large that you're going through, but just that little bit, that little help, that little guidance and assistance that, someone can give you, it just means the world and to me. And, I feel that children and adults, that inner child that we all need that, and to me, it's through the books, my books, that's a main goal is to, heal the body, mind, and spirit and guide and help children. And, adults read the books to the children. So that also is important to me too. So yes, healing, is throughout my books.
Yeah. And as you're creating these books and writing these stories and being meticulous with the color choices, does that bring some healing to your spirit?
It does. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
It brings me joy because every book that I publish, I feel and I write, I feel, and I hope that it'll inspire or bring some type of peace to a person, a child, an adult, whoever's reading it. Yeah. And so that in itself brings me joy because if it just is one person that you can help, then it makes me happy.
Did you always dream of being a children's author?
I've always loved writing. And I love art also. So when I was young, I did write a book when I was 8 years old and I illustrated it and I never published it, of course, but the librarian actually, kept it and read it to other classes.
Oh, neat.
That was really fun and special at that time. So yes, I've always wanted to do it, but I didn't know when. Mm-hmm. So in 2019, I, wrote my first book, but, I actually joined the self-publishing school in 2018 just to kind of get myself motivated, and to help me finish something that I started. I mean, I write these, I used to write different things, but I never really finished it. I started it and I was like, I'll do this someday, but for some reason that was the catalyst to have me just finish something and move forward. And then since 2019, I've written now 10 books.
Wow.
And it's been fun. And my mom's been a catalyst too, because she's an author and, she loves writing and she writes novels and it's amazing how she just remembers all her characters and she amazes me too. So it's been fun. We've worked together, and she's helped me a lot.
That's wonderful. I love that story. I love that you finally were able to get that book finished, that project finished. I think there are so many people out there. I know myself, back in 1989, I had a boss, and I was working in human services and transitioning into performing full time. But my boss at that time said, I was working on a project. I had suggested it and raised the money for it, and she sat me down and she said, "You need to finish this project. You're all about starting things and getting things going and getting the plate spinning, but you really need to buckle down and finish this project." And I did, and it was really inspiring to me. It was like, yeah, I can do that. I can come up with ideas, but I can actually follow through and finish things too. And so I think that that's important. And I'm so happy that you experienced that, going, and that you're continuing on. And now you're working on book number 10, and that's really exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So tell everybody where they can go to find out more about the Samurai's Gift Among the Forest and find out about all of your great books.
They can go to Amazon, and all my books are on Amazon, the ebook and also the paperback. Also, I have my books in Kinokuniya, Seattle bookstore, and so that's attached to What You Might Add in Seattle. And so that they're there. Also, they're in Colorado, in the Young Bookworm bookstore.
Great.
So,
great. And is there a website where people can go to find out more about you and all the books?
Yes, they can go to KristiShimada.com. It's Kristi. Shimada is SHIMADA.com.
Wonderful. We've had a really fun time speaking about a lot of different things, but most of all speaking about healing and the power of healing with Krisiti Shimada. Kristi, thanks so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and it's been fun. And thank you.
You're welcome. Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading With Your Kids podcast. Our guest would be Diane Mizwicki. She'll be here to celebrate Brave Blondie. That's the next episode of the podcast. Hey, if you are an author of a fantastic children's book, we would love for you to visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. If you click on the Authors Click Here button at the top of the page, you will learn how to be a guest here on the podcast. You'll also learn how you can submit your book to our Certified Great Read panel, and you can learn about our monthly promotion program. Learn all about that and more at readingwithyourkids.com and click on that authors button at the top of the page. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, I want to start by thanking our guest, Krisiti Shimada. Please be sure to check out The Samurai's Gift. I also want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Rory Grady, Jordan Saley, Stephanie Davila, Will Cheever. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.